Hello everybody. So this is Madrea. It's day 16 of my 20-day water fast. So I'm not sure what to talk about today. I didn't plan anything. Things are basically going very well. I was 88 kilos after drinking a fair amount of water this morning. So that is 17 kilos lost. It's about 37 pounds, something like that. 38, 37 pounds in 16 days. So it's quite amazing. It's a little bit more than I'm used to. So there must be some sort of process going on which is different from my previous water fasts. I'm starting to feel really clear. I'm quite weak. I'm clear in my mind. I have clarity. I can articulate and so on and whatever, and I'm coordinated as normal. But still, I get tired and get periods of a bit or I feel a bit exhausted. So that's there. There's no real healing crisis or anything like that. No headache, no rash, nothing in particular. Sleep is a little bit disturbed in the sense that it's a little bit irregular. I got into a little pattern, and then the next day I just couldn't sleep at that time, and was up for a few more hours, and then fell asleep, and then got up early, and what can you do but water fasting? I have become aware as I've been resting several times, quite a lot over the last 4 or 5 days. I'll just be sort of lying there, and the internal awareness, the sort of body awareness, will be heightened, because I'm in a softly lit room. I'm by myself many hours at a time, and like this, it's easy to contemplate, to meditate, to be more connected. And I become aware of tensions in my body that go back decades to an accident that I had when I was 10, and that I'm sort of always holding on to these tensions in my back and in my abdomen, and then sort of consciously breathing through those and relaxing, and who knows what's going on there. Perhaps some shift or some healing, some release. I noticed not yesterday or today, but 2 or 3 days ago, maybe 2, 3, 4 times in a 48 or 72 hour period, I had some significant shift go on in the abdomen, and I think in the intestines. So I don't know what that is. Lauren Lockwood from Tanglewood, he and I basically follow his style. Basically, he'll often find with his clients that when the refeeding starts, which I'll be doing this weekend, if you're refeeding carefully with a lot of liquid, for me, I do green juice, I do watermelon, like that, just small amounts, gradually building over a day or two. Day 3, I may start to get into some soft leafy greens, some lettuce, maybe a tiny bit of avocado, and like that, and then back into normal eating. He experiences that if there has been some well, let me preempt that. when I was 19 or 20 years old, I was working at Westmead Hospital. And I was in a situation where you saw many people every day. It was kind of like a reception, but we were the administrators or the management for the auditorium and all these seminar rooms and workshop rooms. So different doctors and their students would come and they'd be booked here. And, you know, I remember 400 surgeons came from all over the world once for a conference, and they were using the auditorium every day. Then they would split up into the seminar rooms, these kind of things. Anyway, one day I came to work, and there on the desk was an autopsy book with a somewhat gruesome or grotesque black and white photo on the front. So I was a little bit intrigued, and I picked it up, and I just started to read between dealing with the clients and the different people that would approach the office. And there was a section there on, I think it was called impacted fecal matter. So I'd never heard the term before, but I started to read it. And this was a somewhat rigorous or dense book to read. It was a medical book for medical students, and presumably not first years. You know, every third or fourth word was a technical word, and, you know, that kind of thing. So anyway, impacted fecal matter turned out to be that sometimes through the ebbs and flows and corners and bumps and things that go on in the small intestine or the large intestine, some sort of sticky, you know, perhaps a lot of white flour or something like this, some stool or feces, some poo, will get stuck on the side of the wall. And then if the food keeps coming and it's also kind of sticky, gluggy kind of stuff, that may start to impact. It may stay there and it may grow. And I remember when I first got into fasting, back then I was doing juice fasting, that was 25 years ago. Sometimes the fasters, water fasters or juice fasters, would get what they call black snakes, which were basically impacted stools which would come out. So they're like long, black, rubbery, horrible things. And they look like your intestine because they've been packed up against your intestine, so they have the shape of the intestine. Lou Corona, a sort of mentor to Dan McDonald and lovely gentleman, he tells a story that he did a 40-day water fast, and on day, I believe, 39, he was in the bathtub doing enemas, putting water in and water out, water in and water out. And so he's sitting there, and the water came out, and a 4-foot black thing like this long came out, and he'd never heard of such a thing, and he actually freaked a little bit because, like, what is that? Is that like an actual live black snake? Or what is that? So, and he said when it came out, he had all these sort of momentary glimpses, visions of eating animals many years before, 20, 30 years before. Flash, 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 as it was coming out. It was a whole sort of semi-mystical experience. He got the intuition that the food that he had eaten at that time had began this impacted stool in his intestines, and that had grown and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that all came out. So anyway, these things. So I was reading in this medical autopsy book. Get this. This is an amazing statistic. Amazing. It said that the average Australian person who dies of natural causes, so the average Australian that dies of natural causes has 15 kilos of impacted stool in their intestines. The average Australian that dies of natural causes has 15 kilos of this toxic, poisonous, rubbery, disgusting, blocking, impacted stool in their intestines. So perhaps these big shifts that I felt 2 or 3 days ago, perhaps something is coming. I don't know. So Lauren Lockwood, he has the experience with his clients that will often come out, that the body, if you're drinking enough water, that's why he's a proponent of drinking quite a lot of water through the day on a water fast. If you're drinking quite a lot of good quality water, it will rehydrate this somewhat dry, hard material, somewhat, and the body will utilize, the various processes, enzymes and so on, to sort of dislodge it and then move it out of the body during a water fast. So perhaps that may be what's going on. My dear Nana actually had this problem shortly before she died. She was in hospital. Lovely lady. And she actually had to have, it was so clogged with impacted stool that she had to have, 2, 3, 4 feet of intestine removed because nothing could go through anymore. So it was actually removed and then shortened and sewn back together. I remember when she woke up from the surgery, she said, I was next to her bed and my parents were there, and she said, "Oh, I'd really like some sausages." So, anyway, it's day 16. I feel good, I feel clear. If you've been following this journey, or if you look at some of the earlier footage or photos, I think you can see I'm a lot clearer. I'm obviously a lot thinner. I think the first day that we actually took photos was day 4. I'm just doing the videos and the photos when Greg is here. Greg is the lovely gentleman behind the camera, and we'll be following his health journey also. But he's not always here, it's sort of part-time. So day 4 was the first day we kind of got together and were able to do some photos. And day 18, so 2 days from now on Thursday, will be the last day that I think we'll be able to do photos for this fast, for me. So I'll take some photos on day 18, and 30, what is it now? About 37 pounds lost so far in 16 days. So I'll take some photos in 2 days' time, and we won't be able to see day 1 to day 20, but at least we'll be able to see day 4 to day 18, and I feel a whole lot better. When I was just walking around this morning, I could just feel how light I am. It's very tangible, and because water fasting, you're losing weight so fast, it's very tangible. All right. So I hope I didn't gross you out with the black snake impacted stool, impacted fecal matter story. I hope all is well with you. in the greater scheme of things, we trust that it is. And with all sincerity, may all good things come to you. Thank you.